Now, if you've been watching Love and Marriage Huntsville, you probably remember a particular scene from a recent episode where Martell sat down with Destiny and Chris Fletcher. On the surface, it looked like a casual sit-down, just three people having a conversation. But as Clue Club members know, nothing on this show is ever just casual. Every conversation has layers, undertones, and potential clues hidden right beneath the surface. During that scene, Martell began talking about a house that he allegedly has in the works. The way he described it was interesting, to say the least. He made references to it being a dream home, but the explanation wasn't very straightforward. In fact, it was a bit convoluted, and that alone raised eyebrows. When someone is clear and confident about a project, especially one of that magnitude, the details usually roll off easily. That didn't quite happen here. What makes this even more interesting is that before this episode even aired, we had already done a video on this channel titled "Is Martell Building a Mansion?" So shout out to everyone who watched that video and already had the inside scoop before it played out on television. That's what being in the Clue Club is all about, connecting dots early and recognizing patterns before they become mainstream talking points. Once again, Clue Club, let me remind you, all information is alleged, but that doesn't mean we can't analyze what's right in front of us. Let's talk about the moment that really caught everyone's attention. During the conversation, Destiny and Chris began asking Martell some very specific questions that only make sense if they were seriously considering covering this property as a listing. One of the first questions asked was about the square footage of the home. Martell initially says around 10,000 square feet, then quickly corrects himself and says it's closer to 11,000 to 11,500 square feet, including the garage, which would also be heated and cooled. Destiny and Chris's reactions said it all. You could see it on their faces. This was big. And that's because a house of that size isn't just about selling property, it's about branding, reputation, and experience. Listings like that can make or break a realtor's credibility in a high-end market. Now remember, the entire premise of this conversation was about who would get the listing. Destiny made it clear earlier in the season that she wanted to be on it, and Martell had previously mentioned Chris Fletcher as well. But let's not forget, Martell also mentioned Kale earlier in the season, who had already shown one of Martell's properties on the show. So the question becomes, why bring Destiny and Chris into this conversation now? Is Martell testing the waters? Is he leveraging competition? Or is this simply a storyline being stretched for the cameras? For a house of this size, Clue Club, you need a realtor with extensive experience, strong market reach, and the ability to handle high net worth clientele. That's not shade, that's just reality, and that's where the subtle tension in this scene really comes into play. After the episode aired, Destiny posted something that immediately caught attention. It wasn't loud, it wasn't messy, but it was very intentional. She posted a message highlighting her real estate credentials, almost as if she was responding directly to the implications made during the episode. She stated that Georgia was where she earned her first real estate license and that she was the youngest to graduate her real estate class nearly 20 years ago. She went on to say that Tennessee is where she made her mark, and now Alabama is her Millionaires Club season. She made it clear that she is not new to this industry, she is true to it. That post alone spoke volumes. It wasn't just about defending her qualifications, it was about staking her claim. Destiny made it clear that she believes she is more than capable of handling a listing of this magnitude. Now, let's address something that came up in the comments, because Clue Club members think differently. Someone questioned how there could be footage or speculation about a home that hasn't been built yet. But that question ignores one very important factor: timing. This show was filmed months ago. Production wrapped around October, meaning what we're watching now is already old footage. So just because something is being discussed on television now does not mean it's happening in real time. We can even deduce timelines by looking at clothing choices. Nobody was wearing heavy coats. The outfits suggest mild weather, not summer, but not winter either. That alone tells us we're looking at footage from an earlier season. That's Clue Club logic. Now here's where things get especially interesting. Not long after the episode aired, Martell's builder friend allegedly posted a video showcasing the inside of a very large, newly built luxury home. Now, let me be very clear once again, we do not know if this is Martell's home. There is no confirmation. This is all alleged. However, the timing raised eyebrows. The video showed extensive custom woodwork, built-in cabinetry, massive archways, multiple fireplaces, modern ceiling fans, French doors, and a stunning kitchen with a large island and marble backsplash. The home appeared expansive, polished, and undeniably expensive. However, with Martell, Destiny, and Chris Fletcher, because that conversation had layers, whether people want to admit it or not. On the surface, it looks like a friendly discussion about real estate and potential listings, but underneath that there was subtle tension, positioning, and what felt like unintentional or maybe intentional shade. When the topic of the listing came up and they started talking about commission structures and representation, there was a moment where Chris made a comment that viewers immediately clocked. The implication seemed to be that Destiny may not necessarily be widely recognized or established within the real estate community in Huntsville. I'm not a real estate agent, so I'm not going to pretend I know the technical language, but the message landed loud and clear. Destiny's body language changed, the energy shifted, and shortly after the episode aired, something very interesting allegedly happened. Allegedly, Destiny posted a message that felt like a direct response, not aggressive, not messy, but very intentional. The post talked about her credentials, her experience, and her journey in real estate. She mentioned that Georgia was her first real estate license, that she was the youngest to graduate her real estate class almost 20 years ago, that Tennessee was where she made her mark, and that Alabama is now her Millionaires Club season. That post wasn't just information, it was a statement. It was Destiny reminding everyone that she is not new to this industry and that she has history, experience, and longevity. But here's where it gets interesting. People say she deleted the post shortly after. Why deleted? Did she feel like she said too much? Did someone reach out to her privately? Did the timing of Chris Fletcher allegedly going live on Instagram later that night have anything to do with it? We don't know, but in the Clue Club, timing is never ignored. Now, allegedly, Chris Fletcher went live on Instagram or posted something shortly after the episode aired, promoting a mentorship program or a millionaire mindset initiative. I haven't fully broken that down yet, but here's where things take another turn. Screenshots started circulating showing attendees from one of his webinars, and one name stood out to viewers immediately: Destiny. Now, we don't know when that webinar took place. It could have been weeks ago, it could have been months ago, but seeing her name there, especially after everything that happened on the episode, raises questions. Is there tension? Is it strictly business? Was the post Destiny made connected to something that happened behind the scenes? Again, alleged information, but definitely something worth noting. Now, let's shift gears and talk about Destiny and Will. Destiny herself posted asking viewers to count the red flags, and honestly, there were quite a few. Will is good-looking, sure, but 4 kids, never married, previously engaged, and then casually dropping that he's known Twan for years, that immediately raised eyebrows. Huntsville must be extremely small because everybody seems to know everybody. At some point, you have to expand your dating pool. Go to Atlanta, go to Tennessee, go somewhere else, because this revolving door connection situation is getting a little too circular. To me, this entire Destiny and Will situation felt very storyline driven from the start. Now, let's talk about Twan, because this is where things really start to get convoluted. Destiny mentioned that Tuan had been doing security for her. If you have not watched the video we did titled "Who Didn't Pay the Security," you absolutely need to go watch it. That video is a major eye-opener. Tuan had posted emotional Instagram stories in the past, lyrics, vague captions, posts about not being part of the show, distancing himself from the cast, yet later showed up at a celebrity basketball game being promoted as Love and Marriage Huntsville. His moniker even included the show's name. Now we find out Tuan knows Will. Tuan shows up around the Fletchers. Destiny may have had something more than professional interactions with him. This isn't random. This is exactly why the Clue Club exists. At first, I thought Destiny and Lance were strictly storyline, but now I'm not so sure. They shared a kiss at the fair. They were paired together at Stormy's birthday celebration, and Destiny wore that barely there dress, you know the one. Then Lance casually mentions that Destiny was allegedly outside his house at night. Now listen, I'm not judging. Many of us have done the drive-by before, but this is 2025. Ring cameras exist. Driving past someone's house is not as discreet as it used to be. The explanation given was that she was driving her baby around to get him to sleep, but then Chris mentions that she lives on the other side of town. That's where things stop adding up. As the footage continued, viewers could see walk-in showers, double shower heads, a sunken tub, and what appeared to be a massive owner's suite with an equally massive walk-in closet. This was not a modest build by any stretch of the imagination. Again, Clue Club, we do not know if this is the same home Martell was referencing. The builder could have been showcasing a completely different project, but the coincidence in timing makes it worthy of discussion. On the show, it was subtly alluded to that this home could potentially be a $1 million listing. And if that's the case, this isn't just about real estate, it's about legacy, status, and leverage. A listing like that could significantly elevate a realtor's profile. It could open doors to new clientele and establish dominance in the luxury market. And Destiny made it very clear that she sees Alabama as her opportunity to reach that next level. So the real question becomes, who do you think should get the listing? Should it be Destiny, with her long-standing experience and public declaration of readiness? Should it be Chris Fletcher, with his own established reputation? Or should it go to Cale, who has already handled Martell's properties in the past? All right, Clue Club, that brings us to the end of this public meeting. I don't know if I'm going to leave this video up permanently. We'll see how the response goes, but I wanted to open this discussion to everyone and give you a chance to weigh in. Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Let me know what you think. Do you believe that footage was of Martell's alleged mansion, or do you think it was just another builder project being showcased? And who do you think deserves that listing?